So we have actually come to the end of the agenda for the morning as written, but because we have some extra time, I think it would be good to address the issue of the strategic planning process, which is found in your materials at page 455. Um, the value of strategic planning for a board and an organization like ours cannot be underestimated. It's really critical to the work that we intend to do and that we should be doing. In this process, Tara and I and Chief Disciplinary Counsel Doug Ende and Francis worked on this. It has been approved by the Long Range Strategic Planning Council. And now I'm going to turn it over to Executive Director Nevitt, who will speak more.
Thank you. So yeah, again, like President Angelo said, you can find my memo at page 455. You can find the strategic planning process at page 457. It's really just a framework. There's not a ton of detail there. The first part identifies what the purpose of the strategic plan is, which is primarily to provide direction to me, which will inform prioritization of resources and ensure that all the folks involved in the Bar Association are aligned. And in addition to that, to communicate what we are working towards. It also outlines different roles in the strategic planning process. And then it sets forth what that process will look like in sort of a timeline. The basic idea is that we will have a 3-year strategic plan. And that after the first one is adopted, in the final year of each 3-year plan, we will be working on the next iteration of the strategic plan so that we shouldn't have a gap. I did want to call your attention to the equity analysis on the second page of the memo. There was, I think, quite a good suggestion in there that when we talk about engaging stakeholders, that using the word consulting might be considered to be not a significant enough role. And they suggest either involve or collaborate. And they specifically reference a tool called the Spectrum of Community Engagement, which is linked there. Based on that feedback, I would like to suggest that we change from the word consult to involve, which I think is entirely appropriate for this process. And so the word that we would be changing is at page 458, under the heading Strategic Planning Cycle, and under the subheading Year 0, and on the third bullet point. It would now read, determines what additional information is needed, and with support from the Chief Communications Officer, involves key stakeholders. Any questions about that or any of it?
Governor Williams-Ruth.
I literally want to just go to merriam-webster.com and see the different definition between the word consult and involve. As someone who has just scraped my plate of multiple board service where I was purely advisory, where I got together and realized, like, I have no authority to change anything. And to feel like I was just being used to tick a box that, look, we've checked in with these people and they were involved in the decision making. No, I wasn't. I was in the room vociferously. I didn't even get a vote, but I spoke out, but it didn't matter. You know, I, as a consultant, as I have been a professional consultant, and as lawyers, we give advice and we say, this is what we think you should do. And people freely make their own choices where they accept that advice or they don't. And to say somebody is involved in the decision-making says that they are then actually have some part where they have been involved in, yes, I have signed off on this, I am moving forward, I am part of a process where I had a vote. And maybe that's just my archaic thinking of things, but to to say somebody has been involved in the decision. I mean, again, on the multiple boards that I was on where I have been involved, I wouldn't say I was involved. I was told we were talked to. They told us, we gave feedback that said X, Y, and Z, and they still went down the path they did.
Thank you. First, I want to acknowledge, I think these are sort of terms of art. And so the other thing I would suggest is that maybe we could drop a footnote and link to what tool we're using to define what involve means. So again, under the material that's linked in the equity analysis, so the way that consult and involve is involve are distinguished in their framework, because again, I don't know if you look at the dictionary definition, if that's going to provide a lot of nuance, but consult is considered to be largely gathering input from people who might be interested from the community. And specifically it references as examples, providing an opportunity for public comment, doing focus groups, holding community forums, and putting out surveys. Under the involve category, that is described as ensuring that community needs and assets are integrated into the process and inform the planning. And as examples, they provide community organizing and advocacy, housing meetings, interactive workshops, polling, and community forums. The other example and option that was provided was to collaborate. And I think the board could have a discussion about whether or not they think collaborate is more appropriate for this particular process. In that case, that's described as ensuring that there is community capacity to play a leadership role in the implementation of decisions. And in that case, the examples given are having MOUs with community-based organizations, community organizing, citizen and advisory committees, and open planning forums with citizen polling. So collaborate would be even a higher level. And then in terms of resource allocation ratios, under collaborate, it identifies that you would put the majority of resources towards community partners. Under involve, it's roughly even. And then under consult, the majority of resources are going to administration.
Oh, Governor Ahern.
Okay, to me, it depends. As I understood the equity analysis stuff here, the focus should be on who's our audience. And is the audience for this word the folks that feel that they are not included or they're not listened to? And I know from the working on the DEI plan, I know from our consultants, they're having trouble getting focus groups of the minority groups because their opinion is, look, we've been talked to for years and years and years, and no one ever even listens to us. Why the hell should we even talk? And so we're not even going to participate. And I'd like something that makes it sound more to our audience of the people we want to draw in. If involve is the word that works better. And I don't think, going to the dictionary and stuff, or, heck, I'm a lawyer, so I know what the legal term means. That's not our audiences. I understand it for this. So I support involve or something that makes people think that they're actually going to have a seat at the table rather than a box to check.
Todd, yes, you may. Go ahead, Governor Williams-Ruth.
I 100% agree. And I just don't think that would, I think it would be worse for us to change it and then not actually do it. And that's my concern, is it's going to be another piece of paper where we have had this aspirational goal that there's no teeth in. What is someone going to do if we don't follow this? And so I do want to see it, but I also don't see that there's any enforcement mechanism when people are just going to be like, yeah, no, we sent out an email or we tried and we called somebody once and they never responded, so we just move forward. I mean, if we're going to do it, I would really like to know what we're going to do to put behind it and then get the board to say, yes, we support holding us accountable to actually do it. So I don't want people to think that I don't support moving to it. What I don't want to do is rubber stamp this equity analysis idea with then nothing behind it, because as I also have been working with the MBAs, what I hear over and over and over again is accountability, accountability, accountability. So again, that's just my comment. Again, I support doing it, but I also then want to know, come back to this group and say, what are we going to do to make sure that happens?
Thank you, Governor Williams-Ruth. Recognizing Governor Bloom. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I did not see your hand. I apologize.
Okay, I'm sorry. Just real quickly, I agree that it has to be something that people actually believe. And if we've been saying consult in the past, I think just using the same word just sends the same message. We're going to check a box, not listen to you. And I do like it's got to be something different. And so something maybe instead like trying to find my writing here. Communications officer, with actual involvement with with stakeholders, and have us be able to honestly tell people this time we're actually going to involve you, and actually make sure that we on the board make sure that the people doing this actually involve these folks. I mean, I'm just trying to think of something. Brent, I agree with you. I don't know what a solution is, but we need to get people that feel excluded involved.
Governor Bloom and then Executive Director Nevitt.
Yes. How is the term? I didn't see the term key stakeholders defined, or what that. I mean, clearly in the equity analysis, we we think maybe we know who we're referring to, but I didn't know if we have a definition for key stakeholders. The other thing is, I mean, we've got Tom is governor at large. Brent is a governor at large. Jordan is a governor at large. We've got, a focus from, I don't think it's lost on any of us with regards to, the different constituencies within our geographic regions, the different liaisons and different things we have. So, I mean, I think, because a result doesn't reflect your preferences does not mean that you're not involved in a situation. I mean, in the considerations and the equities that are at stake. So, I mean, I get that people are frustrated when they don't have a result that they that they prefer, that they advocate for, but that does not mean that they're not involved or consulted or collaborated with or engaged in the process. And although, those feelings are natural, it seems to me. I don't think that it changes the fact that those key stakeholders, and who are the key stakeholders, right? Lawyers, legal profession, the public. And so, if somebody has positions that are at odds or that do not dovetail with the larger concerns or considerations, does not mean that they haven't been consulted or involved in the process, it seems to me. So I think there could be some further definitional identification of parties, of who it's referring to. And, I don't see a problem with having a more robust reference or something that kind of clarifies for folks. But, what's the purpose? It's really the large organizational goals, I think. And, folks have to sometimes realize, hey, it's not all about me. It's about the larger organization. So thank you.
Thank you. Executive Director Nevitt.
I just want to respond on the accountability piece, which I agree is important. I think, again, this is going to be a board approved procedure for how we do strategic planning. And I think this is where the accountability lives. When we bring forth a strategic plan, we're going to need to outline the process that we followed. And I think it will be up to the board to say, no, Executive Director Nevitt, no committee, you have not engaged in meaningful involvement of the key stakeholders. So I do think accountability is important, and I think it will be up to this board to hold us accountable to that.
Any other comments, questions, discussion before we take this matter to a vote? Wait, oh, one more thing from Executive Director Nevitt.
Well, before we vote, and whoever makes a motion, if a motion is made, it would be good to be specific about the language that we're changing. I did like Governor Ahern's suggestion of actual involvement. Another suggestion I would make is meaningful involvement. And then again, I would also suggest that we put in a footnote to and link to this resource for some guidance on what involvement means.
Governor Ahern.
Okay, so again, I don't know if I'm doing this procedurally correctly, but and then if no one seconds, then it means I didn't do it right. I would, on that bullet, I would move that we change consults with to instead say the actual and meaningful involvement of.
Do I hear a second to that motion? Seconded by Governor Fay. Any discussion? Seeing,
My two.
Oh.
My two.
Governor
I
Dresden?
just think I have no objection to the language, except that I don't think it's grammatically correct.
Sound like my English teacher.
You said actually and meaningfully, so it should be determines and then actually and meaning.
No, actual and meaningful involvement of.
I know, Paul, but you need a verb.
I know fighting words.
Actual and meaningfully involves key stakeholders.
And
It needs to be parallel structure with determines, and then
I will amend my motion to say whatever the grammar nerd says it has to be.
painful. Yeah.
well, so I think it's going to be change consult with to actually and meaningfully involve key stakeholders.
I accept that.
Okay.
Yeah, John professors.
So is anyone going to second that amended? Thank you, Governor Fay. And so now we will proceed to vote.
And this is just on the amendment to the language, not on actual passage. Francis Adewale,
Aye.
Tom Ahern,
I
Todd Bloom, Jordan Couch,
Aye.
Matthew Dresden,
I
Kevin Fay, Christina Larry, Nam Nguyen, Kari Petrasic, Mary Rathbone,
Aye.
Allison Whitney, not present, Brent Williams Ruth.
Aye.
Did I miss anyone? Motion passes unanimously.
Well done. I
Then we have
Oh,
to do the motion.
oh, right, the motion to approve. Do I hear a motion to approve passage?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? We will proceed to a roll call vote.
Francis Adewale, Tom Ahern, Todd Bloom, Jordan Couch,
Aye.
Matthew Dresden, Kevin Fay, Christina Larry, Nam Nguyen, Kari Petrasic, Mary Rathbone,
Aye.
Allison Whitney, Brent Williams Ruth.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Excellent. Great job on consensus. At this time, I just want to take a point of privilege to note that May, the month of May, is the month of that is dedicated to Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islanders. Just as a point of history, originally, this evolved under the Carter administration in 1978, when a week was dedicated to celebrate the commemoration of the first Japanese immigrants to the U.S. In 1990, George H.W. Bush expanded the week to a month. And of late, it has expanded to include Native Hawaiians. So I just want to say that what goes without saying, I hope, the contributions of Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders has and continues to have a very positive and enriching impact on our state, our country, and the profession of law. So dedicating this meeting this month of May to Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders. Thank you. I wouldn't want to.
No.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So, because we've done so well with time and we're such a fantastic consensual board, although I do think there was great debate going on this morning. So I don't want to say that we gave short shrift to anything. I believe we can adjourn, and we have a great lunch ahead of us, celebrating a local hero. And we will be coming back at 1:00. So do I hear a motion to adjourn? Oh, don't need one. I don't need one. We're recessing. So have a great lunch. We'll see you all soon.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
No.
Oh, okay.